Boston less than 48 hours after slowing down the Rockets' offense on Monday, holding KD and company to just 12 points in the fourth quarter en route to improving to a league-best 19-6 in clutch time this season. And it's been a wild ride for L.A. this season. That's led them to sitting to third in the Western Conference at the moment. They jumped out to a 15-4 start, capped off with a 7-game win streak. However, they struggled over the next 3 months, going under 500. But the Lakers have found their footing again, winning 9 of their last 10, including 6 straight wins. As for LeBron James, he's averaging a career low in usage and has not taken more than 15 shots in his last 7 games. Here's Lakers head coach J.J. Redick on LeBron's role.
He's still going to be and still has been a high usage player relative to your average player. He's the best thing for our team is him being the 3rd highest used player. I think finding a rhythm and a groove within the rotations and lineups when those 3 guys play, I think that's been the challenge for all of them, not just LeBron, all season. Post All-Star break, it's just about finding that rhythm and finding that groove for all 3 of those guys.
All right, it seems like they're finding their groove to me, certainly at this point. But, Bryant, you've covered LeBron longer than anyone. What do you make of his current role?
It's fascinating that he is, finding this groove at this point in his career, at this point in the season. If you look at sort of LeBron, he's kind of moved down a little bit, and Luka has kind of moved up as you watch how they fit into this offense. Luka has just had the 6 most prolific games that we've seen him have in a Lakers uniform when it comes to scoring. Meanwhile, it's because LeBron's shooting is down. By the way, his efficiency is up. He's still making big impact. And guys, I'm going to tell you this. Tonight, Luka and LeBron working together, this is the most important game of the season thus far for the Lakers. What's on the line in terms of the standings, what's on the line in terms of tiebreaker, and I could say the same thing about the Rockets. As you get older, you get wiser.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's what we're seeing with LeBron James. And when JJ talk about basically him taking a backseat to Luka and Austin Reeves, that's what we're witnessing. But also, that's what we're seeing as far as him leading the NBA in fast break points. He's saying to himself, why would I want to be the primary ball handler when I got 2 guys that could push the tempo, 2 guys that have the high IQ to kick ahead, and we see so many of these throughout the course of the game. Maybe 5 or 6, 3 of them coming from Luka, 2 or 3 coming from Austin Reeves. So, again, this is about LeBron evolving, him, just continuing to, max out the game and continue to trust his guys. Like, that's the biggest thing. If he trusts you,
what's helping,
then you have it.
What's helping it is that they're winning. Trust me when I tell you that if you're not winning, you're not getting that same buy-in.
Right.
They've won 9-1. They go 9-1 last 10, won 6 games in a row. And LeBron is cool with that. Hey, let Luka do his thing. Let Austin Reeves do his thing. And I'll be that 41-year-old who's seen it all, and I'll step up in clutch situations. You touched on Luka, Wendy. He is playing unbelievable basketball. Best stretch as a Laker. We've all talked about that. He had his first 50-point game as a Laker against Chicago recently, which is an incredible performance. He follows that up with his first game-winning basket as a member of the Lakers, beating the Denver Nuggets at the buzzer. And you touched on the three-point shooting. I mean, what he's done the last 28 games, shooting over 41%, and the first Laker ever in a 6-game stretch to make over 5 threes per game. So you got to tip your cap. We're all on Luka for the defense, the complaining, but he is playing at a high level, which in turn is allowing the Lakers at the right time of year to be playing their best basketball.
This is reminiscent of me to when Dwayne Wade took a step back. He was a lot younger. He took a step back in Miami and let LeBron rise up. Guess what? LeBron won the next 2 MVPs.
Yeah, but look, it's always like that. Once you gain that trust, I watched it with KG and Paul. They passed the torch to Rondo, right? It always happened like that. And let's be honest, LeBron been ready to pass the torch. Luka is just that guy that came in and took it from him.
He can catch it.
And D. Wade passed the torch to him in a trip to the Bahamas. So I don't know.
But the Broncos can actually play a little more up-tempo if they're given the opportunity. We may see that against the Wildcats in this game.
Top 25 in the nation in turnover, defensive turnover percentage. The top 20 in the nation in steals. And so if Kentucky's trying to play chaotic, that goes very well for Santa Clara. That's the worry, is that it's not just about shot making for Santa Clara, which they do have. They are a very good defensive team, but a different style than that, like St. Mary's physical, slow, aggressive. They're getting deflection steals, full court press. They're out in passing lanes. They're trying to get up and go. You mentioned up tempo. That doesn't come for them because they have to play fast. That comes from them on the defensive side, where they can turn defense into offense.
John, I'll give you final word before we move on here. LeBron James as the third option, not a role player, but the third option. This is the first time in his career that he's had 15 or fewer shot attempts in 7 straight games. But LeBron is thriving in that role. He's not a big player. He's averaging more than 19 points, almost 7 assists per game, shooting 57% from the floor in that stretch. Most importantly, the Lakers have won 6 of those 7 games. And it's one thing to say he's bought in. For him to say it, it's another thing to show it. When LeBron's diving on the floor late in that win against the Nuggets for a loose ball, you don't have to wonder whether he's
final farewell before
You're right.
they move leagues.
And also, obviously, his experience of playing with the Heat, seeing what Dwayne Wade did, taking the back seat, and that helped to lead them to a title. And also, the Lakers have been playing some defense. Let's go. Today, over the last 10 games, they ranked 6th. The defensive efficiency, what's changed for them in that regard?
I think High Point's
offense I was going to say exactly that,
really kind of changes the game. I think this could be first to 95. This is not your typical Wisconsin team. They have no problem.
That matters for their success moving forward. They finally got that necessary buy-in on defense. Now, we understand that this team is not going to go out there and look like the Oklahoma City Thunder that leads the defense in multiple categories, but they understand that right now, when they actually buy into the roles and the schemes, J.J. Redick knows how to game plan, they can compete. Because offensively, we already know whether the game is clutch time, they're really solid there. You're seeing unselfish basketball there. I mean, you mentioned LeBron James diving on the floor. It was funny. He posted to Instagram, I think the little scab he had. He's like, I don't know if I'll be diving on the floor. But what I do know is he's going to be showing up in the help side and gathering rebounds. And the fact that he's locked in at the age of 41, that is contagious for the rest of the squad.
Also, I mean, they gave KD fits on Monday. They're doubling, blitzing him, fourth quarter. He was 1 for 5 in the second half. I mean, just terrible. He said he felt like he cost them the win. Tim, how much pressure is on him now as a primary ball handler?
I mean, 1 of 5 in the second half, and he said he felt like he was playing 1 on 5, the way that the Lakers were throwing a second defender at him and loading up behind that. And it's not the first time he's seen it. This has been a constant theme all season long. The Rockets struggling to close games, putting the ball in KD's hands at the top of the offense. Defense is forcing the ball out of his hands, and the Rockets falling apart behind that. And, you know, it reached a point where Kevin Durant the other night said maybe he just needs to get off the ball, let somebody else initiate the offense, go space the floor in the corner, maybe set screens, do something else. Now, the Rockets will have a key piece of their offense back tonight. Alperen Şengün, after sitting out Monday night with lower back pain, is off the injury report, will be back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, but still, I mean, we know there's no Fred VanVleet, there's no Steven Adams. All right, so let's talk about Şengün. Can he help KD tonight? I mean, what are you looking for from him, Chiney?
It's not the best option. This is not someone that was built to be a point guard, but it is a solid option because if you think about the finish of the last game, the Rockets were in it. It just was that they couldn't buy a basket. And also, Kevin couldn't really find his teammates. He had 7 turnovers. Alperen Şengün, ever since they realized that Fred VanVleet was not available, they've used him as one of those hybrid point guards. He might look a little unconventional. He might turn his back to the basket, bringing the ball up, but at least it takes some pressure off of Kevin Durant. And to me, that's the difference right here. They made the decision not to make a huge move, risk it all to try to pursue a championship by getting a point guard. I never really thought that the expectation, I'm speaking of the trade deadline, was for them to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they are more competent with Şengün on the floor, especially offensively. Lastly, Kevin Durant said, I am the offense. He absolutely is the offense, but he does need help, and Şengün will provide that.
Tim, thank you. Chiney, you mentioned that the rodeo is taking place in Houston. We actually have a major rodeo star coming up on SportsCenter, which is really cool. And Chiney is